Hey, good morning, team. It is Tuesday, January 28th. I'm Amy Corr, and I am here solo. Kevin got the week off, but I am super excited. I've got a great individual on that we are going to be interviewing today. And our topic is focusing in on just one thing. Again, how can you make sure that you are diving in and taking control of your business by focusing on the right things? So make sure to grab your cup of coffee or whatever you might have, and let's jump into this next episode. My friends, I've got the amazing David Childers, CEO of Keeping Current Matters. David, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're super excited.
Well, thank you, Amy. I'm excited to be on with you.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Yes, and it was funny because when we were talking a little bit earlier, and I had said you need to focus on an idea of just one thing, I think you were kind of like, how am I going to do that? Just one thing. But as we started rolling into this topic a little bit more, I think we both realized this is actually such a great thing for agents to be thinking about in their business. Yeah. And it isn't the idea that they should only do one thing, right? That's it, one and done. But I think it's more of a concept that, in real estate, and I think you and I even experience this, as working professionals, when you're busy and you are in a business where a lot of things are coming at you fast, you can kind of get all over the place, right? And I think one of the biggest things that we should be doing or always thinking about doing is kind of how do I anchor myself to be focusing on the right things? So this year at Properties Christie's, our Accelerate program, the theme that we have is just one thing. And what we're helping agents with is, again, not that there's only one thing to do, but what is one thing in a month that you can really focus on? And maybe it's your listing presentation, right? What is, that one area of your business that you can really be diving into so that you can create more clarity, more focus, your process is tighter, so that by the end of that month, that one thing is phenomenal. And then you have the opportunity to move on to just another one thing. So I thought it would be great to talk with you, though, this morning about the fact that you see lots of agents all over the country at different points in their business, different milestones, different lengths of time in real estate. And I kind of wanted to throw this concept out to you and get your take on sort of just one thing. What do you think agents should be, doing or dialing into? And then maybe even just a little bit of how do you even take this concept into your own practice, if you do?
Yeah, I think it's a great topic. I was joking around with you earlier when we talked about this. When I heard what the topic was, I was like, okay, that's a little bit different than what we talk about most times, which is maybe about the market or something like that.
Data, all data, right?
Absolutely. But I am going to, so I thought about this, and there's a topic that I am passionate about and talk to a lot of agents about because you can't do everything, right? There's so many tools and resources. Obviously, KCM, what I do every day, is one of those. But you can't do everything. You have to figure out what works for you. So I am going to kind of tie it back to that, to what I do every day, and sort of give you that. But that question of one thing, here's what I would say. Talking to a lot of agents, a lot of leaders, a lot of people in our business, even our team here, is really figure out what your perfect morning looks like. Mm-hmm. And in my career and what I do every day, I've gone through this several different times. I've had different sort of morning routines, but it's one thing that I am super passionate about, and passionate in a way that it's something that I can focus on. And really, if I use the right word, Amy, it's something I can control before everything else happens in my business and everything happens in my day and people that need me and all the things that I have to do. My morning routine sets the tone for the rest of the day. And so it's been different at different times, and I'll kind of break that down here in just a minute. I've gotten off track. Let me be very clear in that, right? And
I love that honesty.
Yes. Yeah, you kind of go, hey, I set out to do this. I'm not doing it. What do I do? Well, the quick answer is you start doing it again, But, that to me is what I can do every day in my business and in my life to set my day on the right trajectory. Because in our businesses, everything comes at us, right? And some of those things we can control, some of them we can't, right? I can control when I respond or how I respond if something, a seller is coming at me about whatever the situation is, but I'm trying to set up my my perfect routine. So if that's a good topic, then I can kind of break down how I think about that, how I've done it, and then I will kind of connect it back to our business if that works for you.
Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I think how you start your day, to your point, sets the tone for everything. And it's one thing that our agents can control. So
Yeah,
I love
for
it.
sure.
So tell us your
So
secret, how you
yeah,
break
let me
it.
tell you what I do, and I've done this several different times in my career. Is I'll take some time, and usually it's at the end of the year. We're here at the beginning of the year, but it's usually at the end of the year, and I'll sort of review what I have going on, any life changes, anything going on personally, anything that I want to accomplish professionally. What are goals that I had, in the number of sort of things that I want to accomplish or they're important to KCM or whatever the case is. And a big piece of that is, okay, what does my ideal morning look like? What does that look like? And sometimes I think, in business, and certainly everybody listening that is in charge of their own business and their own self, we're sometimes sold a lie that I need to be up by 3 and I have to have worked out for 2 hours and read 25 books and drank 16 cups of coffee. And that's not how life has always worked for me. I have done, there have been certain times where I've done that. But in my life right now, I literally just went through this about a month ago, where I said, okay, what is my ideal routine? Don't have small kids anymore. I don't have to be up at the crack of dawn, but I'm up by 7 a.m. That's sort of a line for me that I want to be up by 7 a.m. Even this morning, I was up a little bit earlier. And then I do a couple of things on the front end of the day that work for me. This may sound funny, but I'll be very, very honest. The first thing I do is make the bed, because it gives me like some kind of control, and I'm like, okay, I can start the day. Then I get ready, I'm good to go, okay? Then I want to sit down and I take time for me. And I do a couple of things. I have to start with a cup of coffee. Most people listening probably have to do something along the same lines. Absolutely. I have to have a cup of coffee. For a long time, I thought I'm not a coffee person. Then I stopped drinking and I'm like, I think I am a coffee person. So I have to have a cup of coffee, and then I do 2 things. And this is where it starts to tie back into what I do every day, is I have a plan for acquiring knowledge. Okay, so I start out personally, just for some quiet time and a devotion, things that I want to do for me. And I start there, and then I move into what I'm working on for KCM. And so I'll scan, Inman and Housing Wire and all the things that I know that are industry news. I'll look for anybody saying anything, kind of go through social from a perspective of what are people saying? What's going on? What am I hearing? And I'll read anything that is published, maybe a report that NAR publishes or, something like that. And I'm doing a couple of things. One, I'm looking for what's happening right now that we need to be paying attention to as KCM. 2, I'm looking for things for our team as well, that I can flip over to our research team and say, hey, this looks interesting. Let's find out more about it. Let's dig into this. So I'm trying to do that all before I even open up my calendar, way before I look at any email because as soon as I do that, my day has started, right? Because I see that email that's come in, and now I'm thinking about that and what I'm required in that. Or sometimes, I don't know if you're this way. I see email a lot of times, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. Like, I'm not sure what direction to take this. But it occupies a space in my mind. Right. So the most important thing for me in my routine is that centerpiece of gathering knowledge. So I'm going to start out my day with the personal things that are important to me. I'm going to gather knowledge, and then I look at primarily email and my calendar. My day shifts a fair amount from week to week. And so I'll look at it and go, okay, what emails in there? Is there anything in there I need to look at? And what do I have that I'm committed to today? Like when I got up this morning, I was, I looked at, I knew we were going to be together. So I'm like, okay, I made some notes. This is what's important for me to share that I don't want to forget. And then I'm off to the races. I'm into the office and the day starts. But for me, having that morning routine before everything comes at me, so I can be prepared, I can hope to then meet the day with everything that it needs from me. It's not a guarantee. I want to be honest. It's not a guarantee, but I can guarantee this: if I don't start that way, then I feel sort of a day late and a dollar behind, for the rest of the day, and I'm catching up, jumping from here to there versus sort of doing it in the way that I want to do it.
Yeah, I love that because I think, I have a morning routine as well, but hearing you and listening to you, I think one of the things that I actually also do that helps to make sure that my morning is successful is at the end of the evening, I also kind of have a routine. Like it is very cathartic for me to kind of look back at the day and also kind of look at the list that I did have, and whether I love it or not, move over whatever I didn't accomplish that still needs to get done. And I almost make that list the night before. And so that when I wake up, to your point, you can kind of go right into the routine that you want to
Yeah.
go in. Sort of knowing, in your mind that I've got my list ready to go. But I do really like that you preserve your time before you get into email, because I'm very similar. The minute that I allow email to get in and creep in sooner than expected, everything else kind of goes to the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's two things about that. One, I just remembered this. Jim Rohn had a quote. I don't know if you know Jim Rohn, thinker like Zig Ziglar, John Maxwell, whoever you want to put in that sort of space. He said, great leaders end their day an hour early. He used to have this famous sort of quote and thought about that. And his point was, end your day an hour early and then review everything that you did. Did it work out the way you wanted it to work? Did you respond or connect with your team or with the buyer, seller, or whoever it is the right way? And what do you want to do differently tomorrow? Did you not get to something? Did you put something off, whatever that is? And I think that's a powerful, way to wrap up a day. And it's something that just even listening to you, I'm like, okay, that's something that I could do better about ending my day. But here's the thing, and I believe this about this year in 2025. I think in our business, what we are going to have to be focused on is creating momentum.
Mhm.
I don't, in the real estate business, if anybody's listening, they're like, all right, it's going to be like, years past. No, we're going to have to create action and momentum. How I start my day, how I end my day, helps me create momentum.
Mhm.
Right. And I think I got a chance to spend some time. We were all together, the end of or fall of last year. And I get a chance to share this story with agents a lot of time. And I think about this. Sir Isaac Newton wrote the laws of motion that we most know, most of us know. There are three laws of motion. The one that most people remember is he said an object in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. Here's what I know about real estate this year. There will be outside forces. There are outside forces right now acting upon us. If I can start my day the right way, I can create that motion. I'll stay in motion when that stuff comes at me, right? When the day comes at me, when the week comes at me, whatever it is. And so I think this is a topic that I'm very, very passionate about because I use it in my own life. But I think this year in our businesses, it will be critically important. Because
Yeah.
we have to manufacture that to stay, heading in the right direction.
And I love that you say that, because I think too, by having a morning routine and I always say to agents, you have to create a business where you're running the business and it's
Hmm.
not, you. And I think when people don't have their day filled and you don't have a day structured with time block, and I only have 30 minutes to call clients back, or I only have, an hour to do my prospecting. If you leave your day open and allow yourself to say, I'm going to try to set to do these things, nothing gets done, right? But I know, and I think most people operate better, that when I know I only have 30 minutes to get something done, if it's 30 minutes or 3 hours, I'm going to take the time allotted to accomplish it.
Right.
What I love is you set a morning routine. It's probably finite to a certain degree. You probably give yourself from 7 to 8 to get a certain amount of things accomplished, because by 8 or 8:30, you're onto your calendar. And so I think, kind of the biggest message I'm getting from this, and what I think is so important for agents, is that idea of time block and set up your day so you know what you are doing, because otherwise you waste that time worrying about what should I or shouldn't I be doing, as opposed to what you just said, which is taking action and creating momentum. So I love
Totally. Yeah. And I didn't go as deep into that, but I have it written out. I told you I want to be up at 7. I know I'm going to be in the office by 9:30, and that time in between, okay, I've got this allotted, because here's what I will guarantee. The world is coming at us, right?
Yep.
Our business is coming at us. It will happen in 2025. The way I start my day then dictates the way I go throughout it. I can't control some of that. That's the reality. There are things I can control, things I can't, and I'm better off and more, more sort of successful in handling all those things based on how I start my day.
I love it. And you don't even have time for nerves. Like what we were saying is January is the month to get your nerves out, because everybody's always worried about the year. But on this note, David, thank you. This was phenomenal. What's great words of wisdom, great things for agents to be thinking about. For all of you out there, incredible. Like this is the business is out there, momentum and things are coming to us. So as David said, let's make sure that we start our day off right. Let's make sure that we are the master of our day and our business is not controlling us, because there's a lot of business to be had in 2025. So on that note, I thank David for joining me. Always great words to share with our entire At Properties Christie's agent base. And as you know what I love to say, make it a great Tuesday. Until I see you next time, remember, you got this.